started playing soccer in 1971 in West Seattle. One of the reasons was I went to Our Lady of Guadalupe High School, or grade school, which is in West Seattle, and they had CYO teams, and I just loved the game. I fell in love with it, and some gentlemen got together, including Joe Smith and others, and started West Seattle Youth Soccer Association. The second team was the West Seattle Hammers that I played on, coached by Denzel Miskell, and fortunately we were good enough to win the state championship against Lake Hills the first year. So that was my first experience, and Bobby Cowan and I, another friend from Our Lady of Guadalupe, were younger kids, and we got to play with the team, and it was just a fantastic experience. And our coach, Denzel Miskell, always made it fun. We were successful, we won games, but I could tell you what, we always had a great time. You know, when we started, a lot of the fields around the area weren't field turf, they weren't AstroTurf, they were grass, and they were crowned. And I could always remember the little guys played out wide, and I was one of the little guys, and sometimes the water on the sidelines, the way the field was crowned, would be up to your shins. Cold, we played on Syntrex, so if you did a slide tackle, you'd have to pick the gravel out of your backside, but it was always fun. Maybe I was just put out wide, you know, because I was one of the younger guys, but you'd always want to get into the middle of the park because it was always drier than the wings were. The quality of game was funny. I think that our team, the West Seattle Hammers, were very, very good, but you have to remember that we started off as athletes. The Kenny Jensens, the Vinnie Smiths, Normie Smith was our star player, and he had played before, but some of the kids that came to the team were first-year kids. Nowadays, if you get to a U12 team, you've probably played 5 or 6 years. So the technical ability is a little different. The coaching was fantastic. The guys spent time with us, and it was more of an athletic endeavor. We had on our team some great athletes that went on to be star football players, star other types of athletes. And some of the kids were good enough to play anywhere. Normie Smith at the time was good enough to play anywhere. But the rest of us were just starting the journey, and so we learned as we went. Well, through West Seattle, I was lucky enough to play at a high level, and there's some really, really good players. And our coach, Denzel Miskell, went on to the men's league, and some of the guys pushed me when I was 14 to go play in the men's league to find other type competition, and it wasn't really a plan, but I got to play with the men, and I learned a great deal about the game and about the game with a bunch of ethnic players. We played the Hungarians, the Seattle Greeks, the Norwegians, the Danes, and it was a real education into the game. I got taken by the Sounders when I was 18, and I went to the Sounders, and lucky enough, I was able to play quite a few games. I was fortunate, like, you need to have a break as a player. I had good support behind me, and the guy that was supposed to be starting that year was a guy named John McLaughlin. He got hurt, so I got my chance in 1977 and had a pretty decent career after that, but I owe a lot of it to the people in West Seattle, and I always remember the games we had as kids that gave me a real love for the game. Because when I started playing professional soccer for the Seattle Sounders, I made $800 a month. So trust me, it wasn't for the money. It was for the love of the game, and I think West Seattle Youth Soccer Association gave me that love of the game.
Okay, our last...
What, the $800 or the love of the game? You know, I went for a raise. You know Lamont Bean? He owned a place called Lamont's.
Yes.
And I went in and I got Rookie of the Year in 1977. I said, Lamont, it's time for a raise. He says, you need more money? I said, yeah. He says, come see me tomorrow. He gave me a job night stocking their stores. And what the hell, I made a little bit extra money, you know, but $800 a month I made.
That's right.
So some of the kids were smart enough not to go into it. Anyway, when I started, the coaches were all volunteers, and they were really volunteering to help us become young men and teach us the do's and don'ts of life. Life lessons are really important. Now the game has changed. Obviously, there's paid coaches. The game's pay to play. It's really changed. There's written curriculum, and there's the do's and the don'ts of the game and all that. But I think back to my childhood, and all the guys that made an impact in my life were volunteers. And that's something when people give their time to help kids. And it doesn't necessarily help in terms of the soccer game, but I can tell you, when I look to hire employees, I look at employees that have played sports, that have competed, that know what it's like to compete and be on a team and give your best for your teammates. And I got to tell you, when I think of big games I played in, I always think of the game that we played for the state championship, Memorial Stadium in 1971. That was a big game for us. I remember the winning goal. And I think you remember those things the rest of your life.